Salty is a dockyard diesel who works happily at Brenham Docks. He spends most of his time shunting trucks into various sidings and never misses a chance to tell tales of the sea and his days at the old harbor. He has many friends at Brenham Docks who enjoy his dedication and his never-ending nature of storytelling. Cranky, while fond of Salty, could not handle his annoyance of the talkative diesel. "So there they was," quipped Salty in his usual storytelling mode. "These young fellers, helpless, with no food, map, or drink to help them get out of the island. But then, shwow, a large rescue party was called, and they were saved." "Ugh, you and all your gibbering and jabbing," groaned Cranky as he continued to work. "I just can't understand why Sir Topham Hatt, of all people, would purchase an over-talkative pain-in-the-hook to work here." Salty brushed it off. "Ah, well, keep yourself in good spirit. At least with the two of us, as well as Bill and Ben, of course, we'd make a good team here at the docks." Cranky did not want to be part of a team, especially with Salty. As he continued on with his work, he started thinking. Then it hit on him. "So you like sea, don't you?" "As you can tell, I'm a dockside diesel," said Salty enthusiastically. "Just this morning I heard the dock manager say there was a truck loaded with valuable treasure, but no one has seemed to have found it, or keep it in mind of them. If only there was someone who knew all about sea and ships, and of course, hard-working as you would be able to help." "I'll volunteer," yelled Salty. "Treasure is an essential load for shipping here." "I'll ask the manager if he agrees," said a suspicious driver. "The manager said he doesn't know anything about missing load, but he's willing to assure everything stays in order. So, off we go." "We'll be back soon," Salty called to Cranky. "Keep things in order while we're gone." Cranky smirked. With him out of the way, I won't have to deal with his sea nonsense. At the docks without an engine, Cranky was the only machine working. For the rest of the day, Salty searched all and around the island, looking for the treasure Cranky had mentioned. But everywhere he looked, he could see nothing. Cars and goods. "We must keep searching. We don't want to let the harbor down," Salty assured his driver. When they came to Wellsworth, Salty was already feeling tired. "It must be around here somewhere." "Couldn't believe a cranky crane. He must have been playing that so he'd be rid of you," concluded his driver. "We must head back now." On his way back to the docks, Salty saw something beneath the lighthouse. It was the lighthouse keeper, accompanied with two kids dressed in sailor uniform. "Yar?" asked Salty. "What's old Marty got over there?" In the keeper's hand was a small wrecked box with fancy jewelry in it. The keeper held his hand in front of his boys. "This here, lads, is the first treasure we found on Sodor." "Wow, grandfather!" exclaimed the children. "No treasure has ever been found on Sodor before." "The seamen have found it centuries ago, but unfortunately it's been lost. But not today, it hasn't. Not in our hands." Then, all of a sudden, there was a loud screech. There was another sound of a car door slamming. Out jumped two men who were very menacing looking and very grim. They looked as if they were wanting to hurt someone or take something. They pointed a crowbar at the lighthouse keeper and his kids, who quivered and raised their hands high. "We've heard some precious treasure of yours is located here," one said. ominously. Right, Paul? True as the deep blue, said the other. And we have come to take that with us, so hand it over. You can't take this, cried the lighthouse keeper. This was from the docks, and it was a special tribute for the men who found it there. We kept it here. Well, the duck mates aren't here to save you here, so hand it over now, or else. Salty heard the commotion and quickly thought of an idea. Hold tight, shipmate, he called to his driver as he revved his engine loudly. The two burglars heard the noise and dropped their crowbars. Who's there? They demanded. Then a voice spoke loudly. I am the haunted spirit of this sea. The two crooks tried to laugh it off, but were beginning to feel a little anxious. This lighthouse for you is nothing to terrorize, so leave now and never come back. Or what? They said. Or I'll drag you to the far side of the sea and have the Kraken answer too. Oh, not the Kraken, cried the children. But the crooks were scared even more. They dropped their crowbars and immediately drive off, never to return again. Then the lighthouse keeper spoke up. Who's there? And we thank you for saving us, he called very calmly. It was me, cried Salty. The lighthouse keeper sighed. He immediately recognized Salty and knew he was a kind soul. So did his kids. They always loved this hard-working dockyard diesel and loved hearing his stories. They gathered around Salty and gave him 3 cheers. Meanwhile, Cranky was working quietly and alone. But somehow, something didn't feel right. Without Salty, there was no one to keep him entertained. And he had no one other to talk to but the buoys and the ever-much annoying trucks. Maybe I shouldn't have sent him on that phony quest anyway, he muttered to himself. Then, his spirits were risen as Salty came into view. Ahoy, matey, Salty called. I'm back. Oh, Cranky exclaimed. It's you. Where were you? And what's that you're carrying? This here? Salty asked. Well, it'd be a long story. But somehow a treasure was found and the lighthouse keeper found near these docks. And all of a sudden, it was about to be abducted. But with my quick thinking, I rescued it in no time before it was long gone soon. If you'd like to hear about it. Cranky would often reject his offer, but this time he calmly said yes. And Salty went on telling his whole story. I'm sure Cranky will get used to him. Don't you?